Hello everybody and welcome to episode 61 of the Casual Gamecast, a weekly video game podcast for the everyday gamer, brought to you by the team at Casual Game Content. I'm Phil Keogh.
And I'm Shane Bowe.
And this week we have got a show for you guys. We are, much like last week, up to our eyes in it, so we're going to make sure to give you a podcast this week, but it's not going to be the usual hour and a half. We're going to try and keep it to a spelt 30. We're gonna try and beat our record on last week, but by golly, folks, did we not? We didn't want to go a week without it, so here we are, okay? Anyway, what we're going to be doing this week is we're going to catch up very briefly. We're going to talk about what we've been playing. Then we're going to take a quick break and come back with whatever happened in the news. I can't even speak this week. I said newsed. Whatever happened in the news this week that we cared about. But with all that being said, Shane, how are you, man?
Good. Busy week, same as yourself. Flat out. You know, working in retail, it's getting to that time of year where work's ramping up. Mm-hmm. Everyone's crazy, everyone's getting a little on edge. Will they get the thing for Christmas? Won't they get the thing for Christmas? Is their child going to, hate them forever because they didn't get that Nintendo Switch or whatever and end up in, years of therapy? If I only got that Switch when I was 5, I wouldn't need all this therapy. That kind of thing. So, work's been stressful and hectic, and it is making me tired outside of work, which doesn't give me time to do much else.
Right, yeah. Sounds like a barrel of laughs.
Yeah. You know yourself. You've done your retail penance.
I have, yes, I have done my penance. Yeah, there's times where I kind of miss it to a degree with inverted commas, but
yeah,
not at this time of year.
Oh no, never this time of year. Whenever about the middle of the summer when it's nice and breezy day, it's grand. But this time of year, it's a lawless wasteland of evil mothers who, really turn nasty this time of year.
This is true. My week has been pretty boring. Although we did have the jazz weekend here in Cork, which was interesting. A buddy of mine works in a small kind of outlet bar, and he booked us a table and we sat there and we drank pints for the night. It was great.
Excellent.
But yeah, that's about the height of my excitement. Oh, I did get all my arcade stuff that I was talking about last week done, so that was fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Up and running, ready to go.
All running, baby. I got the 2 boards and I wired them into all of the buttons. And had a panic attack the entire time I was doing it because I was afraid I was going to, fuck it up.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
But it worked out. It worked out well. It's super responsive. It's far better than it ever was. And now I have a more responsive monitor than I'm going to put in it eventually. So it's going to be like the actuation of pressing a punch is super snappy. It's unbelievable. So yeah, that's good stuff. The only thing that caught me by surprise was I thought, because it emulates the board that I'm using for the controllers, emulates Xbox controllers. So I assumed that anything that would work with an Xbox controller would work with this. So that's pretty much everything, PC and Raspberry Pi and Android and whatever. But it seems as if it's as if it needs to recognize that it's a console under the Xbox banner to then turn into whatever the necessary controller is. So there's a middleman step there where if I just plug into a PC, it doesn't necessarily know that it's a controller just yet. It has to do a kind of a handshake. And so I'm getting through that. But the reason I had to try and figure that out was I have a little emulation box I was going to put into it and just have 5,000 arcade games that I could just switch over to, so that's the new obsession. Once I get that, Shane, I'll truly be happy. That's what I'm telling myself.
Yeah, that's what we all tell ourselves. Do you know what, actually, before we move on real quick, seeing as we won't be doing what we're watching this week and stuff, one thing I did carve out some time to do this week was go see Dune in the cinema.
Oh, how was it?
I think it's an awesome film. It is it sounds real wanky and pretentious of me, but it is meant to be viewed on a cinema screen. It really is.
Yeah, 100%. That's what somebody was on to me during the week saying that I'm thinking about seeing Doom, but I might just torrent it. And I said, no, that's stupid. The whole point is to go to see it in the cinema.
Yeah, it's out on HBO Max right now, so you can torrent beautifully, wonderfully 4K copies of it and stuff.
Yeah.
Not that we condone any of that kind of illegal activity here at CGC. But yeah, it's like I went to the IMC cinema in Carlow, which is quite a large screen. Still a regular cinema screen, but like better than anything we have in Portlaoise.
Yeah.
Not quite IMAX, but better than your normal average.
Yeah,
cinema.
yeah, middle.
And it was it was really, really enjoyable. I really liked it. The missus thought it was a bit too long. I can understand why she thought it was a bit too long.
High concept sci-fi as well.
There is, yeah, and there is a lot of like, here's a big sweeping shot of sand while someone longingly gazes into the distance for 45 seconds for no reason, and all those add up over time to give you an extra half an hour. But I really, really enjoyed it, and I think everyone should take a trip to the cinema to see it, because even if you're not into like highfalutin sci-fi, as I like to call it, it's a really well made movie to go watch on the cinema screen.
Yeah. Cinema goers movie.
Yes, exactly. So there you go. There's something I did this week that wasn't crappy work and tired life.
Nice. Since we're doing this, I might as well bring it in because it's gaming related. I watched the thing on Netflix, the Witcher prequel thing with Vesemir.
Oh, the like animated dealy. Yes, I didn't even know that was out.
Yeah, it's out months. Yeah, it's just been sitting up on my to watch list for ages, and I said, throw it on. And good watch. Yeah, it's
nice. I'll
good
give it a watch.
It's good stuff. It's nice to get that background on that universe's Vesemir ahead of season 2.
Yeah, actually, I never thought about that. That'd be good. I might give it a watch. Between reading the books and watching the TV show recently and all that kind of stuff, I am a little witchered out at the moment. I'm like, I have it coming at me from all angles. So, but I'll get to it, I think.
Though.
It is self-inflicted. What I might do is I might watch the new season of the show and then go back and fill in the gaps.
Do a
prequel jobby kind of thing.
It's not going anywhere, so yeah. You're good.
Exactly.
Anyway, with all that being said, how about we talk some video games? Play that thing.
Alright, stranger. What are you playing?
So, Shane, tell me, how is things in Fake Cuba?
Fake Cuba is going well. Fake Cuba is going much better than last week's Fake Cuba.
Okay.
So, I was actually having a discussion with someone about this today. I said it last week that I think Far Cry 6 is a very good game. It's just not a very good Far Cry game.
Yes.
And I think as a result of that, I wasn't enjoying it as much. Now that I'm a few hours in and a lot more stuff has opened up to me, I am finding it a lot easier now to play it in the way I kind of like to play Far Cry.
Okay.
At first, there was so much gear locked behind levels and stuff like that that I couldn't really get good gear to make stealth an option or to make this an option. It was kind of like, oh, you're very low level, you have to kind of just run in with a gun and kill everything and see how you survive.
Okay.
But now I've got like the super awesome like compound bow with like explosive tipped arrows and poison arrows, and I can have a Black Panther that can sneak up and eat enemies and make their bodies disappear, and I can, do all this crazy stuff. So now it's back to being a fun Far Cry game again, and I'm having a ton of fun playing it. And I'm going to continue having a ton of fun playing it, because like I said last week, it's just super fun murder sandbox simulator 2021, where I'm going to go kill everybody in that place in a fun, interesting way that gives me a good chuckle. And that's what I'm doing.
Hey, that's the job. That's what you want.
Yeah. That's exactly what I wanted, and it's really fun. And you know what? I can come home from work that I've been complaining about with all this busyness, and I can just switch off my brain and go, you know what? I am going to drive this ATV off this cliff into that guy's head and then blow it up with a bazooka, killing 10 dudes, and then maybe a helicopter comes and I try shoot that out of the sky, and then I've taken over the base, and way, congratulations, you are awesome.
Well done.
Yeah.
No, it sounds like a Far Cry game.
Yes, it does. It really does. And it just took a little while. The Far Cry-ness was kind of locked away in the first few hours. It was very much, you need to play it this way until you kind of get let loose on the world. And then it took a little bit, once I got let loose in the world, it took a little bit of like, right, I need to go here to unlock this weapon to get this stuff to kind of do a loadout that suits my playstyle.
Okay. Yep, that sounds, again, like a Far Cry game to me.
Yeah.
But I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I have been playing with my arcade machine, as you can guess. I mostly have been playing Tekken 7, Mortal Kombat XL because of the horror characters for Halloween spooks, and Dragon Ball Z Fighters, which is amazing on a fight stick. It's actually works really well. Yeah. But I did check out a new game. I was going to check out Resident Evil VR or Resident Evil 4 VR.
Yes.
And they want $40 for that. I said, no, sir. No, thank you.
Yeah.
It's like, I understand it. It's like, it's not easy what they did. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get it.
Of course.
But like, I was expecting like 30 at a push. Or 20.
Yeah.
I kind of like I've bought like 7 versions of Resident Evil 4 in my life. I don't need a €40 one right now.
They should do like a thing where if you can prove, like,
yeah,
like they used to do with like, or probably still do it with like the Electric Picnic Music Festival here in Ireland, where like if you can prove with like pictures or whatever or wristbands you were at like other ones, you get a discount.
Yeah.
They should do it like if you can like send in pictures of your like 5 copies of Resident Evil 4, you can get a discount on VR or whatever.
I would certainly be worth like at least 2 or 3 copies at this point. Honest to God. But yeah, I didn't get to check that out because I'm too cheap considering I bought so much stuff. I bought a stool for my goddamn arcade machine. That's I bought furniture for my gaming. But what I did buy out of morbid curiosity was just last night, so I only have like 2 hours impressions, is Darkest Dungeon 2. Came into what I didn't realize was early access until this morning, last night.
Right.
It just showed up on the Epic Store and I was like, ooh, I'll have you. It's like 20 quid, And I really liked the first game. And it's really different. Like Are you familiar with Darkest Dungeon at all?
Not really. I have a friend who speaks really highly of it, very highly to the point that he has a Darkest Dungeon tattoo on his leg.
I can see that.
It's like the whole torch thing with the little symbol of the orc around. He has that tattoo on his leg. But he speaks really highly of it, and he's always like, he's been at me for years. He like keeps bringing up Darkest Dungeon every now and then and stuff you can do and playing it. And I think it's one of those things where I've been told about it so much and how great it is and how much I need to play it that I'm just never going to play it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I don't know if it'll be for you anyway. It's like, it's super tactical, but it's also designed to be incredibly like hard to swallow. It's I know in Dark Souls you're expected to die a lot, but there's like a power fantasy behind it. There's no power fantasy here. Like it's depressing. At times, but it's like it has so much heart, and the art style and the eldritch horror angle and the writing's really good, and so it all comes together really, really, really nicely in the first game, and it's what makes you come back. And then when you come back and back and back and back, the game gets better every time, but it takes a while for you to get there. All that being said, the second game doesn't quite pull it off. It changes the mechanics wildly, whereas before it was like you had 4 dudes and you walk from left to right through dungeons on different quests, taking them on. Your guys are getting more hurt, but they're also getting more madness essentially applied to them. They're getting affected by the dungeon. You have to kind of manage that, and if it gets too far, they'll get all these different status effects like madness and paranoia and all these other things that affects their relationships with the other dungeoneers, and it becomes this very spinning plate simulator where you're kind of trying to manage everything. But then at the end of every run you go back to your village, and then in your village you're building that up, and you're kind of going and buying upgrades, and you're really like having a lot of control over all of your dungeoneers, because you can like recruit loads of them, and some of them need to like rest for a week or 2 and you have to plan out that. So it's like it's super strategy heavy whilst also being incredibly depressing, which is lovely. I don't know why, but the second game, it's kind of like, I think a lot of people are saying this, but it's the first thing I thought of when I played it was, oh, this is very like Slay the Spire. Have you played Slay the Spire at all?
No, I'm not familiar even with the title.
Oh, okay. Well, it's like one of the biggest games of the last couple of years in a lot of circles. It's a card building, deck builder game, but like not my cup of tea. But I heard about it so much that I said, hey, I'll give it a try. And it's like in Slay the Spire, you build a deck, and then you have to like slay the Spire essentially. Like you're going from A to B, and along the way there's many nodes, and you have to kind of like, you know, do different challenges along the way, and different decisions will kind of make your time easier or harder, and you're doing card battles in between. The Darkest Dungeon guys kind of looked at that kind of gameplay and went, we can do that, and applied their Darkest Dungeon aesthetic and kind of what... Yeah, it's actually pretty much that card game I just described a second ago with Darkest Dungeon characters around it. And it's really strange because at first I thought this was going to be really engaging, because I thought like, ooh, this is a good way to get new people in. Because you start a new round and you're like on a horse and cart that like is just endlessly going forward. So like the art style has changed. It was flat, now it's like 3D, but it still has the same feel, and it's going forward on this endless track, and you're kind of hitting nodes where there's battles and people to help or all this other crap. It just looks, feels and plays incredibly differently. The story and the feel and the heart just seem to be kind of missing as well. And just to prove that to myself, this morning on my lunch break I booted up the first game just to see the first hour again. And now I'm stuck playing that now. I'm kind of I'm like stuck back into that game now. I'm like, oh yeah, this one's definitely better. It's really good. So yeah, strange position that they're in, but apparently it's in early access. It was only on my lunch break that I realized, because I don't think it says it anywhere on the Epic Store that this is like early access. Yeah. So I think the first game, if I remember correctly, was in early access. I didn't play it for many years after it came out, but I believe it had woes in the early days, the first game as well. So maybe it's too early to call it. I don't know. But not a bad game. But I think because it's a very much loved games sequel, it's going to have a lot of like crow to eat before it'll be recognized as anything else, you know.
Yeah, I get you. Look, sometimes sequels they just don't do it. Like, you know, sometimes you have that special little gem of a thing and it works, and then because the gem gets so popular, you're like, right, we may double down on this, and then it just goes nowhere. Unfortunately, these things happen. What can you do? At least, look, you have it in early access now, you own it. At least like in a year's time or something, you get like a notification from Epic going like, you know, there's been major updates to Darkest Dungeon 2. Maybe it will be a better game in like a year.
Yeah, I don't normally buy things in early access, and I probably wouldn't have bought it if I hadn't known. But like, I don't know, maybe it's an interesting experiment. Maybe this is something now I'll check in on every like 3 months to see like, hey, did they do the thing yet, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
I've never been part of that pre-order culture before, so this is interesting, I guess.
Yeah, me too. I've never bought anything in early access or pre-ordered really anything. The only time I think I've ever pre-ordered something is if I was like buying a game digitally, and at that I've like bought it the day before release, just so I could download it and have it ready to go. And like, I wouldn't even really consider that pre-order because I was going to buy it the next day anyway.
Yeah, that's just beating the system.
Yeah.
And speaking of beating the system, how about we take a really quick break to let everybody at home know about our beautiful, beautiful socials, and maybe a little ad before we come back and hit you with the news that we cared about this week. So without further ado, play that thing! Hey there! If you want to keep up with all things casual game content, you can do so in a number of ways. The easiest way to do so is to follow us on all of our socials at Casual Game Co. Not content because you only get 15 characters, but hey, what can you do? At Casual Game Co. That's at CASUALGAMECO. Can't be any simpler than that. On Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And when you're at Facebook, look for the group, the Casual Game Community. It's a good bunch. We're going to love you. Come on by. If you could do us a massive favor, like the podcast, review the podcast, and just tell a friend about the podcast. It goes a long way, and you can find all of our content on podcast forums wherever you get your podcasts by searching for Casual Gamecast. Thanks again for all of your help and all of your support. It means the absolute world to us. Now, back to the show. And folks, we are back. Now, Shane, I wanted to hit you up with something a little different this week, okay? Because I think we miss a trick sometimes every week. We never talk about what we're excited about. We never talk about what games came out. We never talk about what games are coming out. We talk about them whenever there's a news story. But we never say, like, hey, Guardians of the Galaxy came out there. You know, are you interested? So that's where I'm going to bring in a new segment that both you and Aaron are going to hate me for, which is called Are You Interested? Play that thing! So, the point of Are You Interested is every week on the show, Metacritic gives us a lovely list of what to expect in the next week, the next calendar week from when you check it, essentially. So, that is what I have pulled for us this week. But before we dive into what's going to be coming up in the next week, because there's very little, I want to talk very quickly about what has come out in the past week to ask you, have you any interest and will you ever get around to them? Mario Party Superstars, you don't have a Switch. I do have a Switch. I will eventually get it, but I haven't had friends around in more than one or two in so long that, like, it's not a priority. Age of Empires 4, I am really looking forward to playing that. But that's one I know I need, like, some time. And I don't know if I can jump into that one for like half an hour. Any interest in that?
I have a kind of fun nostalgia for Age of Empires, but I haven't played it in many, many years. You know, I haven't played it since the days of typing in whatever it is, more money, more money, more money.
Yeah, more money, more money, more money. Yeah, that's right.
Or like the one to get like monster trucks as your soldiers and stuff like, you know, I'm talking Age of Empires 2 or whatever way back in the day.
Well,
so I've probably
good news for you. This one is emulating the gameplay of Age of Empires 2 from what I understand.
Oh, well then it could be worth a look at some stage. But I feel like it's going to be one of those games where I go, oh yeah, I used to play Age of Empires, I'll give that a look, and then it never happens.
Yeah. Be interesting one to try out on your PC, because, you know, you have like a moderate graphics card and stuff, so like, I'd imagine that game will have good scaling options. So I wonder, I'd say your computer would be perfect to run it. It just mightn't be like ray traced or whatever, like.
Nah, who needs ray traced Age of Empires anyway?
Show title: Who needs ray traced Age of Empires? And apart from ray traced Age of Empires, we have Fatal Frame's latest sequel. That's the spooky camera girl games. This one looks a bit weird because it looks like highly sexualized, so I might give that one a skip. It looks like it didn't get reviewed that well, so that's fine by me. But the biggest thing I think that has come out this week is Guardians of the Galaxy, as I mentioned earlier. Yes. And it's apparently doing better than anybody expected.
Yes, I looked at a kind of a review roundup, and my takeaway from the reviews is that this game is surprisingly okay.
Yes.
Which is fine by me. I'm okay with playing an okay game from time to time. Mm-hmm. I'm playing Far Cry 6, for God's sake. It's not going to win any gaming Oscars or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I might give it a go. Like, I'm glad to hear it doesn't have all the Marvel Avengers crap shoehorned in. All the, you know, the what's the word I'm looking for? The grind and the loot,
microtransactions,
all that jazz. This is a very much a single player, start to finish story campaign dealy, which I'm happy about.
Yeah, and I'm glad that it's doing well, because, you know, Square or whoever is developing this needs to get that message that this is what people want. Mm-hmm. You know, if you had done this with the Avengers license, imagine how different things would have been.
Yeah, honest to God, I would have played that Avengers game if it was more akin to what we're getting with Guardians of the Galaxy.
It came to Game Pass. I put it on for an hour and a half, and I went, nah.
Yeah.
I couldn't play it when it was free.
Yeah, honest to God. So yeah, no, I'll definitely give it a look. It's not on my priority list, but I will definitely play it.
But I know what is on your priority list, because in the next week we do have a couple of notable releases, but not many. I wanted to mention Bloodshore. Have you heard of Bloodshore?
Bloodshore. No, I have
So
not.
on that doc, if you scroll down, you'll get to what's coming soon. So in the next week, we have Bloodshore and 2 others. Bloodshore apparently is like a battle royale. What's the word? Live action choose your own adventure movie. That's coming to the consoles apparently. Kind of like if you remember when we were streaming, when we did that English Hamlet murder mystery thing, where you're kind of like picking different things. Like kind of in that vein. It looks really low budget, but it could be funny. Interested to see what that is, because this is the first time I ever heard of it. But what is on your priority list, Shane, is Just Dance 2022. I'm sure you will be boogieing like there is no tomorrow.
Oh, I got to get my 2022 twerking in. You know what I mean? Like,
Just Dance 2022. I think this is the first one that hasn't been. Maybe it's the second one that hasn't been released on the Wii, which is notable. But the formats that it's coming out on, right? I just don't understand. So PS5, PS4, Nintendo Switch, which I understand, Xbox One and Xbox Series and what have you. How does that work on a PS5, 4, or Xbox One? Like, what is the tracking?
Either you have the PlayStation camera or the Kinect, or you download the companion app for your smartphone.
It's a smartphone thing now, is it?
There is a companion app that you can get for free off the App Store.
You boogie with your smartphone in your hand.
Just have your phone in your hand, or I don't know, stick it in your pocket, or do whatever you need to do with it.
Just banging out Just Dance.
Banging out Just Dance.
Banging it out.
It does. That's it. It's like right. I only know this from working in game retail. It's right on the box. There's like a little sticker on the top corner or whatever.
Gotcha.
It's like download the Just Dance companion app today or whatever.
Gotcha. And speaking of companion apps, will you be downloading the Call of Duty Vanguard companion app this holiday season, Shane? Because that is also coming out this week.
Yeah, just the app, not the game, just the companion app.
Yeah, I like to keep up,
Yeah. I always enjoy the Call of Duty campaigns. They were a good, like, stupid, silly war blockbuster, like a stupid summer blockbuster movie. I do enjoy them, but I'm not going to pay like full whack just to play like a 35-minute campaign or whatever it is they come with these days.
Yeah.
So I'll wait for it goes like ridiculously on sale or something at some stage and pick it up for like a tenner.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You'll probably game share it with your buddy anyway.
Probably will, actually. Yeah, he's into the kind of online shooter, so that's one of the advantages of him being into the online shooters is he buys them and I get to play the campaigns.
Exactly. But that is what's coming up in this coming week, ladies and gentlemen. Now, next week will be pretty stacked, and I'm looking forward to talking about that one. But this was a pretty spelt week, so there we go. Suits us for today's show.
Yes.
And now, with Are You Interested all wrapped up, let's move into the news. Play that thing.
News.
So, Shane, as per usual, we're just going to chit-chat about what we cared about this week. One of the things I saw, which is interesting, and I don't know who it's for, but I think the people that it is for will love it immensely, is Niantic are back in the, AR world game,
mobile, get out there and walk around the place,
maybe be in places you shouldn't be games, and they're doing it with Pikmin, which is kind of funny. Okay, here's the thing. I played like half of a Pikmin game. I'm not against the Pikmins, but I think they're a fun little property, but I can't see kids running out to download this one. And I thought the whole point of these AR games is that like it's a hot property that the whole world is obsessed with. Like it seems like a bit of an odd bunt to go with Pokemon and then go back to Nintendo, sans the Pokemon company, and go, got anything else? And they go, Pikmin. It's like, it starts with a P as well, I guess. It's kind of similar spelling. Maybe we just don't have to change much.
It's a bit niche, like, you know what I mean?
It's a little bit niche. Like, Mario has more brand recognition than Mickey Mouse these days.
Yeah.
Not so much the Pikmins.
No, like, they're just... little weird anthropomorphic pixie creatures with flowers on their head. Like I've never played a Pikmin game. I don't know anything about it. Like I would probably at least entertain the idea of downloading a Mario AR game where I have to go and find question mark blocks out in the real world and I don't know, get mushrooms out of them or whatever.
Yeah, I think I'll try this one though. I think I will like see what the story is. You know, like on my walks and which I need to get cracking on again. Just like when I'm out in the wilderness to see is there many Pikmins around and how that works. But these things they're like a gimmick. I never understood why they're so popular with people. It's that weird collection mentality people have. You know, it's like I must capture 47 chances in order to make a shiny Chansey. It's like,
yeah,
who cares? Do you know, what do you do with it? I guess nowadays at least they can transfer them back into their Pokemon games, their actual games. So like now there's something you can do with it, but I don't know, man. Anyway, that's just something I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I know Pinkman goes over my head, so let's move on from this one because I'll just be talking out me hoop if I keep trying to talk about it.
That's fine, but like just talking about things that go over your head. What won't be going over your head, Shane, is the bullets from the old Halo games, because
what a segue.
I know,
Can
right?
we just stop there for a second and go, what a segue?
Boo, boo,
And
boo,
you know what?
bullets
I still haven't decided whether it's a really good one or a really terrible one.
Oh no, it's bad. It's bad. It's okay. I know what this is. Yeah, so it seems like eventually, or not even eventually, but I guess it was an eventuality that. What am I even trying to say? Dear God, am I having a stroke or something? I think so. It was always going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, that Xbox 360 support was going to go away for online for the Halo games. And when I say the Halo games, I mean Halo 2, 3, 4, and Halo Wars, and any of the other stuff in between. Now, I'm surprised that they kept it online for as long as they did. It's 2 generations ago. It goes to show how much Microsoft really supports Halo, doesn't it? Like, it's...
Yeah.
Like, that's the equivalent of, like... I don't know. Like, the Uncharted games. I assume their multiplayer died off on PS3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like... This is where we are. But now, having said that, if you have the Master Chief Collection on the modern console, which I'm assuming is where people play the things anyway, you're not going to be affected. It's specifically people who love Halo like no other, but somehow in the last 10 years haven't had an opportunity to buy a different console and are still plugging in and seeing their 360 Razer menu and booting up some good old Halo, baby. It's time. I'm sorry, my friends. You are being sunsetted.
Yeah, some guy living in like the Gobi Desert or something in a tent with his like, you know,
Wow.
with his 4G Wi-Fi connection playing Halo on his 360 because he's never got a chance to get to the local desert GameStop or whatever.
What an image you paint, Shane.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. I'm an artist with words.
You are. You truly are. I'm gobsmacked. But yeah, it's just amazing to me that they kept it going for as long as they did. You know, like I guess you have to give Microsoft props for that.
Yeah,
you know?
you do. I always find it weird how I hear announcements of servers for things shutting down, and every time I go, should that not have been shut down like 4 years ago?
Yeah, I don't know. It's bizarre.
It happens a lot. Like, I've seen a story like maybe 6 months ago. It was like the final whatever server is being shut down on something like launch PS3 game or something. I'm like, that really should have been gone a long time ago. Come on, guys.
Who's paying for that server space, you know?
Exactly. But yeah, props to Xbox for keeping it going so long. They know what they have with Halo when it comes to multiplayer. Like, Halo is the birth of loving multiplayer for so many gamers.
Completely, yeah. It's the progenitor of online shooting multiplayer as we know it. Like, so it was, I guess, nice that you could pop back in, but I don't know anyone who was, you know, like, cause like I know people with Xbox 360 that played LAN, you know, but they were able to connect them up to it. Like, the beauty of Halo is you can play that across like all of the Xboxes connected at once. So
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter which one you have, they'll talk to each other. So like I've seen that in the wild, but I've not seen people like going on Xbox Live from their trees. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, interesting stuff. And I don't know, Shane, have you anything more positive to talk about? Because I've got two kind of depressing, one very depressing story to talk about. I think I'm going to get my laugh in now because it'll be super inappropriate to laugh when we talk about it.
There was actually one story I wanted to bring up real
Yeah,
quick. that I
please, for the love of God, do.
Forgot to add to the doc. It's not like anything too fancy or special. It's that Sony have like officially kind of launched a Sony PC label.
I saw this. They changed their
Yeah.
like studio naming or whatever.
Yeah, on
Or
like Days
publisher
Gone
name.
and stuff. Yeah, publisher name. So it's now like Sony PC.
Is that what they ended up with? Because I know it
I
was
think-
like Sony Mobile or something, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was
it's like Sony PC now or something to that effect. I really should have opened up this news story before I brought it up, but I read it today when I was like having my
Nah,
lunch.
that's
and
fine.
like-
That's fine.
And yeah, so they're now like, which kind of we knew it anyway, but they're finally kind of saying to the world, yes, we are all in on eventually porting all our exclusives to PC.
Yes, and on that note, over the last week it was confirmed that God of War was coming.
Yes, and it's going to be handled by an outside porting studio that's nothing got to do with Sony
I
or
didn't know
Santa
that.
Monica.
Interesting.
Santa Monica's not handling it. It's an outside studio. It's been like
Oh, that's always the case.
what's the word I'm looking for? It's been outsourced to some other studio. Like Santa Monica's not involved.
Their first party games always are.
Yeah.
I think that Stranding is the only exception because that's not first party. That's just exclusive.
Yes.
But yeah, they bought. Remember they bought that company, the PC Port House,
Oh yes, I do.
the weird name.
Yes, I remember now. Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah,
like it's one of those. I'm
worried
sure.
about. Yeah.
One of
But
those
either way, Sony's push into the PC market is going to be long and continuing with all their big exclusives for, God knows how long or what kind of window. I'm going to give it like maybe a 2-3 year window on every game being exclusive to Sony before it goes to PC. Maybe 2 years is what I'm going to say. That's my
All
prediction.
beware of the long schlong of Sony's PC releases. But yeah, with that being said, I'll just knock into the last few things. So one thing that I kind of thought was bound to happen, but it's still a little bit depressing for the teams that are working there, especially after I think a couple of months ago they came out and said, hey, it's probably not the coolest vibe around here at the moment, which is Vicarious Visions, the people behind the Crash Bandicoot remasters and so on and so forth, that got eaten alive essentially by Activision Blizzard, are now being folded completely in because there is a pretty much confirmed statement going around that they are going to lose the name Vicarious Visions and are most likely going to be called something along the lines of Activision wherever. So I believe that they're in Albany, is it? Or where they're in somewhere beginning with an A. I'll find it as I'm talking. But essentially they're going to get that. So yes, Albany. So Blizzard Albany is what they're thinking, and that will kind of line up with what they have with other states being like Blizzard Austin, Blizzard whatever. A bit sad. It kind of like shows that like, yep, they're just another fork in,
Oh yeah, they're another cog in the Blizzard machine. Like,
yeah.
It's the same thing EA does when EA suck up a studio and then they just get, their name gets removed from them and they get sucked into the EA globular gelatinous goo monster that is that company.
The EA globular. But yeah. Anyway, I hope the guys there get to work on something that isn't just like, I don't know, Call of Duty DLC or whatever they're working on currently. So
Yeah.
you know. Anyway, how about we make things even more depressing, Shane?
Love it. Bring it on.
Yeah, this is just a messed up thing. I just wanted to get your take on it. And we'll try and keep this respectful, of course, but like, it's messed up. So, are you on TikTok?
No, I don't use TikTok. For kind of 2 reasons, and they're both kind of tied in together. One is I would have no self-control, and I know from people who have talked to me about TikTok that I would end up on an hours of endless scrolling or whatever.
Yeah.
And part 2, my partner keeps saying, do not get TikTok because I know you, and that's exactly what would happen.
Fair. Yeah,
So,
my partner is obsessed with it, and she's constantly on it. Like it's hilarious. It's kind of like a nice get out of jail free card though, because like if I ever given out to for like, oh, you've been doing something for ages, I'm like, but you've been on TikTok for like 4 hours.
yeah. Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, I don't use it either. It's just another thing that I don't want in my life. But
Yeah.
YouTube has a version of it though, that for our channel I've been looking into, and it's like YouTube Shorts. But a lot
Yes.
of the TikTokers bring their shorts over there. But like
Yes.
in just researching what other people are doing and scrolling through them, like half an hour went by and I'm like, holy crap! And I threw the phone across the room. I was like, no,
Yeah.
demon beast. But anyway, TikTok. Okay, there was a famous TikToker who
Yes.
made videos about Skyrim in real life, where
Yes.
he would essentially go around the house doing menial things, impersonating people in Skyrim. Like
Yes.
NPCs.
I have seen the videos on.
Yeah.
People have shared them to Reddit or what have
Yeah,
you.
you'll see them on Facebook.
The
Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
over the place. And this is why TikTok is not necessary as well, because the best of it comes up to the top anyway. You will see it somewhere if it's worth watching. But yeah, this guy, Ali Nassar, I'm sorry, dude, or anybody that may share this guy's name, Abulaban. He essentially is the guy behind all these Skyrim in real world TikToks, and he has apparently been charged with killing his wife and her friend.
Yes.
Wow, this is some deep ass stuff. I don't even know why I'm bringing it up here, but I just thought this is like an interesting story that's tangential in some way to games, that I just kind of wanted to like talk to you from the whole bizarre aspect of it all. But yeah, apparently the bones of the situation is that he found out that his missus was cheating on him with this friend.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether it's her friend or his friend or both. But he planted something in the apartment that let him know when somebody else was there.
Mm-hmm.
When the other person came around to do the dirty, he came in and straight up gangland style shot the two of them and just went away. I don't know why I'm laughing, it's out of awkwardness. And then went away and picked up his child and got arrested in the car. Shane, what do you make of this? Like, I know this isn't really gaming related. This guy just happens to make Skyrim TikToks or whatever, like, but
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I read that this morning and nearly spat out my coffee.
If you had told me that some TikTok star has gone and killed two people, like, even if it wasn't game related, I would have went, huh. Yeah, I kind of felt like that was going to happen at some stage.
It's happening a lot lately. I don't know whether it's like, people are more aware of it or something, or maybe it's like more newsworthy now, but like, I'm seeing it like every week or two, like, TikToker found dead, or TikToker, isn't there like an Instagram TikToker girl that's like lost out in the Maldives somewhere that like they're currently still searching for? They found like 20 other bodies.
Yeah, the internet's gone crazy about that particular case. Some of my friends are as well, like following it and getting all the information and updates. There will be a Netflix documentary about it soon. Don't worry. You'll get all the gist of it there. But yeah, I don't know. I think like take this how you will from two people who make a radio show on the internet for people to see, but like a lot of big YouTubers and TikTokers and Instagrammers and whatnot, they have a certain kind of personality that attracts them to that need to be like viewed and liked and talked about and stuff, and that's not always the healthiest of personalities to have, or they're not always the healthiest of people that get into that kind of life.
Yeah, I see where you're going. Like,
yeah, you know what I mean. I'm not trying to say that all YouTubers or all TikTokers are like
No,
crazy, unwell, deranged, unhinged people.
No.
But it does attract a certain amount of those people as well who have, personality disorders or
like,
complexes about themselves.
We do live in a world where it's never been easier to reach out and ask for attention, and this is like TikTok is like a way of doing that,
Yes.
Again, through the lens of two people that make content every week, but like you know, yeah, this is just nuts. I feel so bad for the kid. I feel so bad for, like, you know, all the rest. And for everybody that's in the TikTok world or making content or whatever, like, that ends up in situations like these, like, it's just the families, and, you know, everything is, like, so on blast all of a sudden, because, like, you know, it's now in the news. You know, it's like, it's international news. It's like, that guy did this or whatever. Now the whole world's going to be chasing him down. His family or whatever, who knew nothing, I'm assuming. I don't know. Anyway, it's nuts. It's nuts. But look, here's hoping, Shane, that one day I was going to make a bad joke about me turning up at your house, but like, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. No, I caught myself. Yeah, let's walk away. Much respect and love to the families, and I do apologize if any of that was insensitive. Did not mean for it to be. But yeah, that is the downer that we can leave the show on, I think, Shane.
Right. Okay. Right. Because we're finishing on such a downer, and we don't plan on doing question of the week this week, right? I'm not going to do an official question of the week. I'm going to go for quick, right? Just you don't need to explain yourself. I just want an answer. Okay. Fizzy or non-fizzy cola balls?
Non-fizzy. Depending on the brand, non-fizzy.
Agreed. Okay, there's our question of the week. Overdone. We both like non-fizzy cola
I want no explanation. I do not want to know.
No, that's it. Just to finish on a lighter note than the TikTok guy murdering his missus. We both love non-fizzy cola bottles, preferenced over the fizzy kind. For anyone outside of Ireland, maybe, who's not sure what a like fizzy or non-fizzy cola bottle is, they are little gelatin sweets. They come in a normal variety that are cola flavoured, or a variety that's like dipped in sugar and has crystallized sugar on the outside. That's the difference between fizzy and non-fizzy. We are the non-fizzy guys.
We are the non-fizzy guys. That could be another podcast title. Huh?
There you go. Write that down. I'm full of them tonight. Full of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna hook you up to the title machine and just let it milk you. I'm a non-fizzy guy in general. I don't like that form of sweet generally.
Me too.
I'll eat them, but like I don't reach for them.
The reason I ask is because we stopped at our local shop on the way home from work, our corner shop kind of thing, to top up our like gas card or whatever. And they always have like pre-made like 50-cent bags of sweets and euro bags of sweets on the counter, and I can't help myself but grab one every time I'm topping up the gas. And this was a bag that was particularly filled with a lot of fizzies, and I was like, I'm not enjoying this bag of sweets. Like, that was a waste of euro.
Here's the problem, all right? I know we didn't want to get into a tangent here, but here's the problem with those bags of pre-made penny sweet selection in like a plastic wrapping or whatever. The second they introduce a fizzy sweet into that, it ruins the bag. Because it's now becomes this fizzy, sugary mess where it's just all shook up and it's all over the place. And the non-fizzy sweets are now fizzy, and everything just ends up tasting like the fizzy cola bottle.
Yeah,
not a fan.
That is true. I'm not a fan. Give me a like 50-cent jelly snake and I'm happy out.
Oh, I do like them, especially when they're a little bit like stale.
Yeah, actually.
I don't know why. I really like them, and they're kind of just like.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's because otherwise they can be very hard to eat, and you end up swallowing like a huge lump of jelly snake in one go, and you're like,
and nobody wants that. But let's hope none of you listeners at home are choking on your jelly snakes as you listened. And thank you for listening this long and making it this far. We said half an hour. We didn't deliver. We gave you even more. We'll try harder. But with that being said, if you enjoyed the podcast, do us a favor. Like the podcast, share the podcast, comment on the podcast, and leave a review for the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Podcast Addict or anywhere that allows you to do so. All of those things super help us out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you could, and most importantly, tell a friend. I think this week you will have to tell the grocer in your local petrol station as you go around to buy your gas, as Shane does, and maybe pick yourself up a 50-cent bag of sweets and let us know in the comments over on Facebook or in our Discord, which you'll find down below, how sugary was that bag of sweets for you. But with all that being said, I have been Phil.
I have been Shane.
And this has been episode 61 of the Casual Gamecast. Take care, be safe, but most of all, stay casual. Bye!